Hey guys, before we hop into the video, I've got some quick announcements for all of you. First of all, we made it to 500 subscribers and I'm so freaking psyched. We just got monetized. I'm so excited. Thank you to every single human being who contributed to the growth of my channel this far. I'm so excited to be on this journey with you. Thank you so much. I don't even know if I even ever said this out loud to anyone, but I did have a goal of reaching 500 subscribers by the end of the year, and we demolished that goal with like a month to spare. So thank you so much for believing in me. And I'm excited to see where we go. Cheers to the journey we're on, gang. That sounded so unnatural, gang. Second announcement, I had a commenter make a really good point on one of my videos, and they told me that I had too many topics crowded into one YouTube channel, and it was gonna mess with my YouTube algorithm and make it so that my videos weren't getting shown to as many people. So they suggested that I make a second channel for all my like lifestyle stuff and my travel and my spirituality and my veganism and all that, and then just use this channel strictly for anti-MLM content. So we're gonna take a risk and we're gonna try it out. I'm sure you guys noticed that I privated a lot of my videos that had to do with anything really non-anti-MLM related. If that's content that you like and that you're interested in and you wanna just get to know me a little more outside of all that anti-MLM stuff, I created a second channel where I'm moving all of those privated videos to. So those videos aren't gonna be on my channel anymore, they're gonna be on a second channel. I would really appreciate it if you guys wanted to come on that journey with me. If you guys wanna get to know me a little bit more, I would love to see you guys over on that other channel. So I will link that second channel below in the description. And then I also made a third channel that's strictly for my music. I haven't moved over my lyric video for Choose Me or Lose Me yet because it's still bringing in a lot of traction to this channel, but I will be moving it once my music channel gets a little bit bigger. But in the future, that is where I'm going to be uploading all of my new songs, and I'm in the middle of working on an album right now and a bunch of collaborations with multiple different artists. So I have a lot of content that's going to be coming out sometime in the next year. And I know a lot of you did come for the music content, which I really appreciate. I'm so glad you guys like my art. If that's you and you're one of the people that came to this channel for the music, that's also going to be on a different channel. So I'll link both of those channels below in the description. Third announcement, I just wanted to give a quick little shout out to StarCrafts and Co. They sent me these cute little anti-MLM stickers. They're adorable. I'm obsessed with them. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them quite yet, like where I'm gonna put them, but I'm gonna do something cool with them. I'll keep you guys updated. This one says my ick is multi-level marketing, and then this one is proud MLM dropout, and they're sparkly. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to StarCrafts and Company for sending these to me. I really love them. So I'll also link their Etsy below if you want to get some of your own. I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. They were just really kind to send these to me, so I wanted to acknowledge that and give them a shout out. So without further ado, let's hop into the video. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Lavender, aka Rainy Fairy. If you're new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. Today I am with my friend Tanner here, and he was my downline in Worldwide Group / Amway. So we're gonna be learning a little bit about his experience today with all of that. So how long were you a part of Amway / Worldwide Dream Builders?
Officially 3 months, I think.
What was it that initially made you want to join?
So the way you had talked to me the first time we talked, I was like, this feels like a recruitment for an MLM. The words you're using, just scam written all over them. And I'm bored right now, so sure, let's see how this goes.
How this plays out.
Maybe I'll get fortunate enough to be rich off this.
And I hit you up on, was it Bumble, right?
Yeah,
it was
Bumble
Bumble.
BFF.
Yeah, I was hitting up people on Bumble BFF.
And you were like, pretty much me like, well, it's a lot to text. So can I call you? I was like, upping the level of communication. I see. Yeah, let's see how that is.
I think it's hilarious that you knew the entire time. You're just like, oh well, I'm bored.
Pretty much from the first time you called me, I was like, pretty sure. I'm like,
dang,
this feels like an MLM. But also, like, living in Utah, you know that's like the culture. Like, everyone is an MLM.
Yeah, it's true. I did not know that. Do you remember the first time that you heard of someone quitting the MLM? And if so, how did that affect you?
Between my first interview and my second interview, our interviewer quit. I was like, interesting that we have a different person, like, all of a sudden, like, it was very suddenly. That was the first person I was pretty sure had left.
Okay.
And then pretty immediately I had heard stories that she had left.
So it was just like not really a shock. It was just like figures.
Yep.
So to fill in the viewers, for those people who don't know like kind of what the recruitment process of Worldwide Dream Builders is, there's like a series of interviews that you have to go to. They call it education and vetting, but it's really just a recruiting process. They're just testing to see if you're, you know, brainwashable enough. So Amber, the person who was both of our coaches, I guess. Well, I guess my coach, because she quit before you joined. Yeah. She was my coach. We did an interview with her in the last video. I'll link it below if you guys haven't seen it. She quit like right as I was taking him through the recruiting process. So he literally had like one interview meeting with her, and then after that it switched to the other person that I spoke about in my video. What was the breaking point that made you finally realize that it was time to leave? And when that happened, did people treat you differently?
I don't know if there was a specific breaking point, because I was already a weird scenario to begin with. I feel like it was just costing too much money and like not seeing a return on that, and already knowing that it was an MLM and all that stuff. Like, it just made it, I was like, it's time. Like, I already spent 6 months on this thing, 3 months actually working on it. So, and then
surprised you tried knowing what it was.
Well, I was like, you know, if it's something that I would be good at, then maybe I'll give it a shot. But then it was a lot of things I'm not good at, talking to people and being salesy and stuff like that. So you're the only one who didn't really treat me differently, but that's just the kind of person you are. I heard from one time after that. He was like, hey, how you doing? And I was like, doing fantastic, actually. Thank you, bye.
Ew, he's such a troll.
I wanted to hear some sob story about how bad I was doing, I'm sure, but...
Oh, absolutely.
But no, I was doing great.
What were some of the craziest things that you were told to do or give up while you were in the MLM?
They didn't specifically say it, but like they very much implied that like if I wanted to do well, I'd have to give up video games, which have always been a big part of my life, and like how my family kind of makes sure to hang out. We always play video games together. And then also having the group be your family, like treat them like the most important people in your life.
So did you do either of those things or not really?
No.
That's good.
No.
You're like, I am unfuckable.
Yep. I know that is a way to do it. And like, they have you read all these self-help books and stuff. My brain doesn't, I'm not neurotypical, so my brain doesn't work the way those self-help books try to teach people to work. Mm-hmm. Like that works for 90% of people, but I'm part of the 10% that self-help books I have to alter to actually work for me. Otherwise, it just stresses me out and I fail at them. So like all that stuff I knew I would have to adapt to my own way of thinking and learning and all that stuff. If I wanted to get as much growth as they wanted me to get, then I would have had to, for sure, give up that stuff. But
even the people who do give it all up do not make anything back. Yeah. So you did the right thing there. How did being in the MLM affect your personal relationships?
Luckily for me, I only tried to recruit a handful of people.
Okay. Mostly
family members who were just like, not for me. Since I knew it was an MLM from the beginning, at work, I was talking to my coworker, and I was like, but do you want to join? Like sarcastically being like, come on, join it. It'll be great for you. And she was always like, no, I want nothing to do with that.
So is that how you like pitched it to everybody? You were just like, hey, this is an MLM. Do you want to join?
No, mostly people I talked to when I was still, like even pre the first interview, I think. I was talking about, I'm like, yeah, this person like reached out to me and was trying to recruit me to their MLM. And they go like, okay, so you're not gonna do it, right? I was like, no, of course I'm gonna do it. I'm bored.
So everyone just kind of knew from the beginning what you were doing. What are all the ways that the MLM negatively impacted your life, if any, since you kind of were playing the game in your own way?
Definitely financially, right? Because they want you to put every extra penny you have into building your business and buying the products and all that. It was a pretty good time commitment. I moved my work schedule around because I was working graveyards at the time, and
I remember that.
And our meetings were every other Monday night.
Which is a lot of dedication for someone who literally knew what it was and didn't care.
Yeah, it worked out. It was fun for a while.
That's good. Are there any ways that it benefited your life positively, even if just for a little while?
I mean, they really pushed budgeting, and if I kept doing that, that would have been great. But I didn't really keep up with that, and I might actually go back to that. But that's definitely a positive, like knowing your budget, knowing what you're spending money on, all that stuff. I was never that antisocial, but I also knew, like, I saw myself in like some of the stories that I heard about people who were antisocial before, and then like reached out to people to join their MLM to make them a bunch more money, and
they overcame the fear.
Yeah, and so a lot of the stuff that they taught was very generic business stuff, like already being an entrepreneur, already being pretty much a lot of the stuff they talked about.
How did you balance like your business that you were already building with suddenly being part of an MLM now?
So I hadn't started the business at the time. I was like, it can go on the back burner while I get rich here, and then if I don't get rich here, I can go do my business and all that stuff.
What advice would you give to someone who's in an MLM or who's thinking of joining one?
Get out. If you don't get in, get out. It's with any high demand group, right? It's gonna be hard because all people you know, all people you care about are in that group. If it's not working for you, then those are not people you want to be around anyway. They specifically say, be around the people that you want to become. If you don't want to become those people, you should get out and find new people to become.
Would you say there were any rules or behaviors in the MLM that were cult-like?
For sure. Hang on, let me pull something up. Actually, I specifically talked to you about this.
Yes, you did. I actually talked about that in my original Amway video. He's the person who showed me the bite model, by the way, who I spoke about in my original Amway video.
Yeah, so in the bite model, it talks about behavior control, information control, thought control, and emotional control. Behavior control, you were told to prioritize the meetings, prioritize bringing new people in. First priority is the business, and like not playing video games, not making music, not doing anything you find fun.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the gym and meet people, go to the supermarket and be like, oh, you have a very pretty smile. Information control, they tell you to listen to their audios, they tell you to read the books from their approved list, they tell you, like I said, go to all their meetings, get your information from them. If you have a question about what you should do, you go to your coach or your upline to make sure you're in line with what they want. So yeah, all the information is, well, these people, it works for these people, so you should definitely follow exactly how they did their thing. Very much information control. Also, you're not allowed to trade social media or phone numbers or anything with anyone who's not in your direct line, which is very much information control. Like, they don't want people talking. Thought control, like I said, with information control, they tell you to listen to their audios, read the books they approve, all to keep your thoughts focused on the MLM. And then emotional control, they have people tell their stories and like say how grateful they are that they are in this organization. It very much follows the bite model. Just everything in the group is very culty. I like using the cult word. I know a lot of people don't, because it's a very aggressive word. That's why I often use the term high control group, because that basically means cult.
Yeah, and if you think about it from that perspective, like, even someone inside the group could be like, oh yeah, it is kind of high control.
It's a high control group, yeah. But like, you can also justify it like, of course it's high control. Like, that's how you get rich, is you have a lot of control over yourself and all this, and your time and all that stuff. But
yeah, they have something to say that they've been trying to deflect anything you could throw at them.
Even if it's not a cult and it's just a high control group, they have ways of deflecting every question you have, everything you can think that would dissuade you from joining or staying in.
So when did you first learn about the bite model?
The first high demand group I left was Mormonism in 2018. And pretty much since then, I've been very interested in cults and high demand groups. It's definitely probably almost getting close to 10 years, especially in the last 5 years. I definitely, when you study about cults, you learn about pyramid schemes and MLMs, and the difference of pyramid scheme and an MLM is that an MLM is a legal pyramid scheme. Like, there's slight differences. Like, there is a legal requirement required for an MLM to stay in business. How much those numbers are fudged is, I mean, I know I lied.
And they taught us to do that as well. Like, they're like, if you can't get all your customer volume by the end of the month, then just give a granola bar to your mom and write down that she bought the whole box. So how far into it did you get before realizing this is a cult? Like, when did you start picking up on that?
So like I said, our first phone call, I was like, this very much feels like an MLM, but I'll hear her out. And then at the first meeting, they're like, all right, how do you feel about this thing? How do you feel about this thing? And how do you feel about this thing? And all my answers were like, you know, the obvious answers that you answer if you want to get into a group.
Yeah.
And then definitely at the first meeting, like the night meeting, I was like, okay, they're just obfuscating the fact that this is basically a pyramid scheme. Instead of a pyramid shape, they have like you and then your next person and then all these people under them and then the next person, all these people under them, and like, so it doesn't look like a pyramid, but it is.
Do you have any regrets or things you would have done differently about your experience in the MLM?
Probably not. I went into it pretty knowing of what it was. For me, it was a fun summer activity in 2023.
Would you say that your life got better or worse after leaving?
It's definitely gotten better, but it's not related to leaving. I didn't care about the group enough for it to affect how my life went.
Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you wanted to talk about?
Them specifically, they were always like, oh yeah, we used to drive 4 hours every other week instead, and you guys only have to drive 30 minutes. Like, you guys are so lucky to be here with all these people here. I don't know, they just definitely felt like guilting was the way to get you to do more. Like, oh, you're not doing enough, and these people are doing better than you, and you could do as well as them if you were doing as much as them.
And then the love bombing too, on the other end of things.
Yep.
I guess your experience wasn't super no. You didn't get really indoctrinated.
No, I'm a very atypical person in every way, and especially I'm like, yeah, I'm bored, let's join a cult.
Check that off the summer bucket list.
Interestingly, based on my personal definition of a cult, that was the third cult I left.
Ooh, let's hear about the other ones.
I personally consider Mormonism a cult.
I do too.
It is definitely a high demand group, and and I'm not going to go super into depth with it here, but basically they follow the bite model pretty much to a T. They control your behaviors, no drinking coffee and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They think that anything that's anti-Mormon is misinformation. So there's the information control.
Mm-hmm.
Thought control, you're not supposed to think bad thoughts, you're always supposed to think about God and whatever. And then emotion control, fast and testimony meeting at the first Sunday of every month is just you're hungry and people are making you cry.
Okay, and then what was the second cult that you joined?
So basically, we had a friend who kind of controlled our whole friend group in a way, and then dropped all of us one by one. Since then, we've been like, oh yeah, this is the cult of that person. Like we call it the cult of that person. So
did they do anything like on the bite model then?
To an extent, yes. Like they definitely had the strongest opinions and tried to get us all to agree to those opinions for like information control. When they dropped a friend in the friend group, we all dropped that friend in the friend group. So like there's that behavior control, I guess. So yeah, there was that to an extent. I don't think it was intentional. I don't necessarily think it was intentional on their part, but we do call it the cult of them. So
fair.
Yeah, I always love talking cults and high demand groups. Like that's definitely one of the things I am most interested by.
Heck yeah. Is there anything in particular that you want to share about it, or?
Just do your research. Like, they are going to tell you to not research the negative stuff. Oh, that's another thing I did. So before I even joined, like, I think it was probably between our first and second meeting, I was, like, going through the Amway Reddit, and, like, all the comments were like, how do I get my brother out of this? And, like, this is my horror story and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, definitely culty, definitely a high demand group, definitely an MLM, like, all that stuff fits.
If you had like a friend or a family member who was in any of these high control groups, what would you say to them to try to like get through to them when they're like programmed to not listen to you?
It's very hard. Like I said, I study a lot of people in cults, and people in cults don't like listening to anything outside of their level. Just be a good person and be their friend. That's probably the best thing you can do. Don't treat them differently just because they have chosen what they've chosen. Be patient.
Do you think that everyone eventually will learn the hard way?
It works out for some people. Some people who can just, look the other way when they're directly being part of this, people being scammed out of their money.
Did you ever feel weird, like, trying to recruit people when you, like, knew exactly what you were doing?
No, it was just mostly familiar relationships, and they're like, yeah, this is Tanner's new weird thing for the month, so...
Have you had other weird things for the month?
Oh, I'm sure I have. I've bought all the stuff to make so many different businesses that have never come to fruition, and I have all that still in my room, and, like, I could go back to any of the stuff, and I just don't touch it.
You could make a whole Etsy store.
Pretty much, yeah. I could start an Etsy store and like have pretty much a whole Etsy store that based off of like only a few like designs, and I would have everything to make it.
Maybe I'll hit you up when I start making merch for my channel. You'll be my merch guy.
Yeah, I can do that.
So what's your current business then that you're doing?
So I do parking lot striping for businesses. I'm not scamming people. I'm charging businesses for something that they are required to have under the Americans with Disability Act, and I make sure that parking lots stay up to code, so I'm providing an actual service and not scamming just poor people. They had some saying about poor people, like, we're not scamming poor people, or, you can't build a business off poor people.
Broke is a circumstance, and poor is a mentality, yeah.
Did they say poor stood for passing over opportunity repeatedly?
Yeah, they did say that. One of these days I'm going to do a video where I, like, basically walk the viewers through, like, the whole recruitment process.
Gotta go find all the handwritten notes, all the notes. I mean, there was some good stuff in there for general entrepreneurship. It's a bunch of generic stuff that works in a lot of ways, but then they specifically tie it to Amway.
They're like, this is the only way. You'll never hear this from anyone else.
No, you'll never hear from anyone else. And then I'm like, I heard that on my podcast last week. What do you mean I'll never hear from anyone else?
They're like, we're charging you for this proprietary information that no one else in the world will ever hear. These are our secrets about how to be successful. Did you ever feel like your upline would like shame you for not being all in enough?
No, I was never at the level that you were at where they were telling me specifically to quit what I would like, the things that I was doing. I hadn't ever had a downline, so I never had to be a good example.
Gotcha. That's convenient.
Yeah.
So you went to, was it family reunion?
It was July, so
family reunion. So tell the viewers a little bit about that experience. How was that, and especially from your perspective, like already knowing what was going on?
It felt very much like Mormon General Conference. Like you just have people giving talks and being like, hey, do the things that we tell you to do, and then it'll work out for you.
That's actually a really good point. I didn't even make that connection.
Yeah.
It literally is general conference.
And then just like celebrating people who are making progress and being like, you could be here next year and all that stuff. It's very much one person telling everyone, you can all do what I do if you just, insert emotional manipulation tactic here. So it was very Mormon General Conference for sure. Obviously, you gotta celebrate the people who are making advancements so that other people are like, I could be there.
Yeah, you gave me a sticky note that said we're next. And then I had it on my dream wall for like the rest of the duration of my Amwayhood.
Well, I was not fully in it. I was like, well, I could get down there. It's just morally I couldn't do it.
Did you notice any other similarities besides the major functions that Amway and, those types of pyramid schemes have in common with the Mormon Church?
Recruitment for sure. Like the Mormon Church sends out missionaries all across the world to talk to these people who maybe believe in Jesus but don't specifically know, like have a specific church they go to or whatever, and they're like, hey, look at this community we have.
Yeah.
So very much like recruiting, and then like, oh, we're a community and like we got each other's backs and all this stuff.
The love bombing, yeah.
I'm sure there's bullet points that are like, if this and this, you're in a high man group, and I'm pretty sure there's gonna be similarities between Mormonism and Amway for every single one of those bullets.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything that you want to plug? Is there anywhere that you want people to find you on social media?
I theoretically make content, not cult related, more video games related. But yeah, it's at @tpixel_, all spelled out, every platform. So this guy is where all the links will be. So
is there anything else you want to say or add before we wrap up?
don't join cults.
Don't join cults. You've heard it here, folks. We'll probably wrap up this video. This has just been kind of like a short and sweet chat. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our little banter about cults. Yeah, make sure you do your research, do your due diligence. These things are real, and cults never look like what you would think a cult would look like. It usually looks like something totally normal and positive a lot of the times. They'll disguise themselves as anything from self-help groups to a yoga class.
My friend was in a political movement
that
ended up being very culty, and the leader went to jail, and now they're writing a play about this leader, and that's their top priority right now, is this play or something like that. And she was like, it's just so culty, and I'm glad I got out.
Yeah.
So it can be anything, and
totally. Any
group can become a cult, and they're not going to look like cultists who are chanting in dark robes in a basement, summoning Satan or whatever. That is very much Christian propaganda that was made during the Satanist scare and all that stuff, and that's not what a cult looks like.
What he said. Leave a comment if you want to see another video where Tanner comes back on and we dive into Mormonism a little bit. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a comment. It helps spread things like this to more people so that we can spread more awareness about cults and these high control groups. And make sure to subscribe if you're feeling frisky. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.